Great, and welcome everybody to September MxG. So I'll just start with my very quick spiel. So MxG is a statewide network of organizations and individuals that support entrepreneurs and innovators to scale in Maine and beyond. We believe that a vibrant, inclusive innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem will result in a more abundant, equitable, and sustainable economy and make Maine a great place to live, work, and play. We work together to share expertise, seek best practices, and to address system gaps. We promote the successes of Maine startups and entrepreneur support organizations and collaborate to attract talent and inspire innovation. So generally, how we start is just to provide a little space for anybody who might be new to the group or not been here for a year or so to just do a very quick introduction, just name, affiliation. The presenters can do a quick introduction as well, even though you'll be presenting later on. So folks just want to either raise their hand manually or put up the emoticon or just unmute and shout out your name. Feel free. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Thompson, CEO and co-founder of Blue Sonde Technologies that just recently incorporated. Sonde is a piece of sensing monitoring equipment, and Blue Sonde is focused on ocean monitoring hardware for carbon dioxide removal and in general ocean research, offshore wind, coastal restoration. So yeah, glad to be here.
Great, thanks, Andrew. And I know you're planning to present in a couple months, so looking forward to learning more.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody else who wants to introduce themselves?
Oh, I'm Cooper Van Vranken.
Oh, go ahead, Cooper.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Cooper. Cooper, then Melissa.
Cooper Van Vranken, founder of Ocean Data Network, sitting here in Portland. So looking forward to talking a little bit more about what we're doing later on.
Thanks, Cooper. Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa Olander. I'm the owner of On Point Business Consulting. I am a bookkeeper who specializes in financial planning and analysis for small businesses. And I'm actually sitting in for Michael Reeder with the Reeder CPA Group, who provides CPA and tax expertise to small businesses in Maine. And he's so sad that he can't be here today, but I'm excited to be here. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, Melissa. Anybody else who hasn't been on in a while? Go ahead, Lisa.
I can say hi. I'm Lisa Liberatore. I'm going to be presenting today with Scratchpad Accelerator.
Thanks, Lisa. Looking around. Anybody else? See a good amount of familiar faces. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go over and just do a quick MTI overview of updates. And actually, I only have one this month, and that's just to make sure everybody's aware that MTI is going to be celebrating our 25th anniversary in October. We're doing a little celebration on October 29th from 4 to 7 at the Abramson Center in Portland. There'll be food, drink, some speeches, and some of our companies, MTI portfolio companies, are going to be highlighted. It's free, and I'll post the link in the chat if you want to register. But I hope to, see a lot of you there. And that's all I got. So I'll turn it over to Shae at DCD.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shae McGehee. I am managing the economic development incentives for the state. I'm going to pop in my links in the chat, and then I'll kind of go through them. I wanted to start by just touching briefly on the Dorigo business incentives. This is the new program that's replacing Pine Tree and ETIF. So this program has two main benefits. It's a capital investment tax credit up 10% to most of Maine and 5% in certain counties. And the second benefit is workforce training. That's $2,000 per employee enrolled in a qualified training. So this is a sector-specific incentive. And I wanted to keep that brief, but just make sure everybody knew what was going on. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions or want to talk about it more. I put that link in the chat. DCD is hosting a webinar next week, and it is about e-commerce tools. This is part of the domestic trade work that Ellen Mailing has been doing with Camoin and Atlantic Corporation. So I included the link. If you want to share our LinkedIn post, link that for you, as well as the registration link if you would like to attend. An update on staffing. There is a DECD job posting currently for the workforce planning coordinator. So that is working with the career exploration funds from pandemic relief funding. So that's getting young people experience with businesses and it's paid work experience. So coordinating that program is what's available now. As you may know, my role has changed in DECD, so I am managing the incentive programs. So be on the lookout for what was my previous role, should be posted in the coming weeks. So we'll have a spot on the team. We're looking for somebody who it can do a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different exciting work happening. So we need someone who's motivated and excited about economic development in Maine. So just keep your eyes out for that. That's not posted yet, but so it's on your radar. If you know any good folks, please share that information with them as well. The other things I just wanted to note, the Maine Space Conference is coming up. I put those links and the date is October 23rd through the 25th. I will be on a panel. I think I'm on a panel on the 24th with Brian Whitney from MTI and Jonathan Poole from FAME. So that should be fun, but there's a lot of other more interesting scientific things happening, but that's just our one government sort of panel. I wanted to tag that the Department of Ag posted that they have a grant program available for infrastructure. That first program was oversubscribed, so will be interesting to see how this one goes. And then just tagging select Maine sites. This is the site selection tool. There's some fun businesses on there. There's some Main Street businesses for sale. If for folks that are interested, there's a lot of data in that tool as well. If people are curious about learning more about the area and other economic stats. So that's it. I'll put my email in the chat too, so you have it. I'm the point of contact on those incentive programs. So please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I think that's it.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Shae. Any questions for Shae before we turn it over to the next presenter? Seeing none. Nina, did you want to give a quick update from Maine Venture Fund?
Yeah, I sure do. Thanks for making time for this, Tom. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. I'm coming at you guys with a shameless plug this morning for the Maine Startup Challenge, which is a business plan competition we host every fall to encourage entrepreneurial thinking across all ages. So it's much like your standard business plan competition, but we have a K-8 tier, a high school tier, a college tier, and an open tier for all adult entrepreneurs. And we're working on spreading the word. Currently, the application opens October 7th, and the deadline to apply is October 25th. It's aimed at idea and concept stage businesses. So we get a lot of very cute applications from 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, which are really fun. So to the extent any of you guys have kids that you want to make sure that they get the entrepreneurial spirit going, really great opportunity to get them involved. And then also, obviously, we have an open tier. And so to the extent you guys have early stage businesses or know someone who does, great opportunity to get some feedback, put together a formal business plan. And there are great cash prizes in every tier. So also a little bit of cash to help the business get going. So anyway, I'll put a link in the chat with more details, but appreciate any help spreading the word as we quickly approach the application window in October.
Thanks, Nina. Yeah, if you don't mind putting that in the chat, and we'll also make sure it goes into the MxG notes so that when we send it up. Great. And you don't have to know. Can that be used for an MTI award as a match? Maybe not. We'll talk. Okay.
Yeah, it should, because it's a cash award, Tom. So and I fundraise the award, so it's not actually
Oh,
state
okay.
capital. It's just money.
Oh, in that
So
case,
it
yeah,
should be able to
absolutely. It could be
match.
used as match. Yeah. So
Yeah.
extra reason to apply. That's great news. Awesome. Well, thanks, Dina. All right. Well, I think we're on to our first presenter, and that will be Cooper. And Cooper, let me just make sure you have sharing permissions.
Radio check, radio check. So it looks, well, we'll see if can you all see?
Yeah,
Yes,
we got it.
that looks
but
good.
not in sharing mode yet. So big
Correct.
thanks to Marty for pushing me to jump on here, and thanks to Tom for making it happen. Good to see a few familiar faces, but not so many. So excited to share what we're up to at Ocean Data Network. We do an admittedly pretty poor job of interacting locally, so it's always good to chat with folks in the area. And so what we are doing is all centered around the idea of working with fishing vessels to collect oceanographic data. And so, to set the stage a little bit, ocean data is crucially important. Most folks, it's out of sight and out of mind. But the oceans are 70% of the planet, and ocean data is the foundation for everything from climate, hurricane forecasting, Navy operations, ecosystem health, and then this broad sectors of the kind of maritime and blue economy. And to date, the ocean data comes primarily from two sources, and this is kind of the sustained broad spread ocean OBS, and that's from satellites looking down at the surface of the ocean, but that's only the surface. And then these Argo floats, that's that second picture there, which are in the open ocean, but counterintuitively, we are pretty much flying blind in close to shore. And so that's where we come in with this solution of fishing for data. And that's really that fishing vessels have the unique profiling data collection opportunity because the nets, lobster traps, any kind of fishing gear, it's already going down to the bottom fishing and then coming back up. So if you send sensors along for the ride, they can automatically offload as soon as it surfaces. So it's not getting in the way of fishing at all. And then we're collecting things like water temperature, salinity, these kind of baseline parameters. So that's the concept. And as a company, important to note, we are a platform, oceanographic data collection platform, and data management company. We're not a sensor company. We choose the right sensors for the job. The most common question we get, why would fishermen want to do this? It's way easier than even I thought. And this can work in kind of three different flavors. We pay them in very small scale applications, particularly in regions like Africa. Mutual benefit, fishermen are very much kind of always enthusiastic to learn more about temperatures, where their fish are, and up to the scale of very large scale fisheries that are sophisticated and engaging in data-driven operations. So it's a win-win for everybody. Some examples, how do our customers use our data? There's quite a lot of different customers, but it's all really kind of, we deliver the same core data into these modeling and prediction systems. Again, climate change, hurricanes, all the way to things like anti-submarine warfare. Locally, some nice examples are our data is included in the American lobster stock assessment, as well as in U.S. Coast Guard search and rescue models, as oil spill models, things like that. But why does any of this really matter? This is the important slide. And that's the existing data coverage. So that's the maps in the middle there. We have data out in the open ocean, but then not in close to shore. We're flying pretty much completely blind in waters shallower than 1,000 meters. And then you can see on the maps on the right, this is the tremendous success of fishing vessel-based ocean observing network, kind of flipping that data paradigm and showing persistent, sustained ocean OBS in the regions that are most relevant to the blue economy and everything like that. So, in New Zealand, these are our scientific collaborators. Around here, it's us, as well as folks at NOAA Northeast Fisheries Science Center. We are, based on the historical paradigm, we're smashing it out of the park. We're providing coastal data at unprecedented scales, but we're really, really far from realizing our full potential. We are operating on a little over 160 vessels, and that's from Africa to the Arctic, Peru, everything like that. But we're only going where people are paying us to go. And so you can see the very clear line where Canadian waters start. Nobody's paying us to go there. That's why we don't have data. So this is patchy data. And this is what I've coined the Ocean Observation Network Valley of Mediocrity, which explaining to oceanographers is a lot harder. So this kind of leads us into our upcoming business model evolution to expand from this targeted patchy data collection to establishing a network at scale to meet many different customer demands and then offer data access as a subscription, really changing the game and achieving, big data in the regions most relevant for these customers, and in these key defense choke points in this region, particularly relevant. Also hurricanes, big climate signals in between Iceland and, areas like this. So, looking to leverage some different flavors of investment, and then the financials really work out quite well on this type of network, and then that transition in this more broader subscription model. And so why is this going to work? It really, there are kind of key things that we feel are absolutely essential to why this is the ocean data play done right. The first one, our cost basis is really unfairly low. The two largest source costs of ocean data, number one, the platform, number two, the deployment of that platform. We're effectively mitigating both of those. Second, we're addressing a real problem. Plenty of the robotic systems, they're looking for a problem. That's kind of what our competitors in Silicon Valley are doing. And they're not even getting subsurface data. And the third one, and this really matters to me a lot, is how close we are to the science. It's kind of a tale as old as time, raise too much money on unproven and dangerous ideas, and then the company implodes. In contrast, we're leading this big scientific consortium, FBON, which is now officially an endorsed network within the Global Ocean Observing System. That's the kind of highest level of coordination. And this is a level that no other private sector startup has ever come to in the ocean data space, even ones that have raised hundreds of millions of dollars. So I don't, take homes, high profitability based on that cost basis, and then some interesting increasing demands. Climate change is making all of these problems and the demand for ocean data much more pressing. AI is making it much easier to use more data and really making data the key difference. And then some very interesting emerging markets using ocean data and, such as commodities traders and things like that. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thanks, Cooper. Any questions for Cooper? We probably, that went slightly long, which is totally fine, but I'll just keep questions to a couple minutes, I think. But any questions for Cooper? Go ahead, Jeff.
Cooper, we've talked before, and I forget, do you own data, or does your third-party hardware provider also own data?
It depends. On networks and things like that we're running, we own it, but then sometimes we're contracted to go get this data, and the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania owns the data.
Great, thanks. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah. So you're doing a raise right now, and that's exciting, I think. But how did you come to sort of build this FVON thing, that data network? And you're leading it somehow?
Yes. This is the way that oceanographic data, gets to matter. So lots of people stick sensors on things. Most of the time, the data is garbage. But it's very, very challenging to kind of create that market and show that the data can be used, in the scientific ways and in these operational forecasting. So building that up, building that science, and then kind of co-designing these different solutions, as well as working with the other networks. That's very important, the future of the ocean observing system is us working with the gliders, working with the satellites, and kind of all of us painting this picture of what's happening.
Cool, thank you. I feel like Andrew from Blueson should have a question. I'm at the limits of my oceanographic knowledge, but it's really interesting. Thank you for presenting.
I've got a lot.
And if you have one, let's just do it in the next minute or so, collaboratively between you and Cooper. Go ahead.
I've got a lot more questions, but I actually just shot Cooper a note, and I think we're going to try to meet up in the next week or two and dig into the details. So yeah.
Oh, perfect. Great. Awesome.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Cooper. And if you don't mind, on that note, if you don't mind just plopping your contact info in the chat, just so if folks have more questions, they can reach out and ask. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Well, next up we have Lisa.
Hello. Let me see if we can. I don't know why it's not letting me share. So let me try it one more time here. I'm having I don't know something. So, okay, we're just going to talk because I don't know what warning just popped on my computer. So, my name is Lisa Liberatore, and I am the program manager for Scratchpad Accelerator. We are, I'm up in Bangor. Dr. Jason Harkins is the program director, and like I said, I'm the manager. We are very fortunate to have been the first seed accelerator north of Boston. We started in 2015. Jason was part of Top Gun, and he saw that there was a need for more specific training for scalable investment-oriented companies that wasn't available. Now we have lots of opportunities, so it's so exciting to see in 9 years how much we've grown. Love it. So we work with Maine's most promising investment-oriented companies. We are focused on the agriculture, aquaculture, value-added, and food technology space. We are currently recruiting our 5th cohort. Applications deadline is October 15th, and we will be starting in January. So based on customer discovery, we have pivoted our model. We are not a traditional accelerator anymore. What we heard was that people can't make it to Bangor for 5 days and then go off. They're running businesses, and that's not successful. So we have pivoted our model. We are now doing bespoke consulting. So we are working with you one-on-one. We have a roadmap that we have created that we will help the companies go through, and also provide connections to a mentor network, as well as meeting up for cohorts. So the last cohort that we had, we leveraged Sebron Reeves with an MTI sponsorship to be able to offer financial modeling. So the entrepreneurs were able to get this incredibly robust tool. They came together for a half-day workshop, which was wonderful. They could learn how to use it, and then they got one-on-one consulting to be able to figure out how to put their numbers in and make sure everything kind of ticked and tied together. So we're really excited to be able to meet our companies where they are and to be able to guide them through a systematic process that lasts about 13 to 14 weeks. Again, we're meeting one-on-one virtually, so we're able to flex around people's schedules, so the time commitment is not too exhaustive. Thanks to incredible funding, there is no fee to participate, so we're very fortunate for that. Between the Prime Grant and Bangor Savings Bank, we are very fortunate to be able to offer a no-cost solution to our entrepreneurs. And like I said, we've gone through 4 different cohorts, and all together they've raised more than $5 million in outside capital. They've added thousands of jobs and created lots of opportunities for revenue increases. And we even had Double Blue exit quite a while ago, and some other ones have folded up, but we're excited and proud of every company that has been part of our journey. Jen from Coffee Hound just went through our program, and this was the 3rd one that she has participated in, which I love that, again, MxG is doing its thing. We are connecting these entrepreneurs at different points along their journey. And she reflected on our program and saying that it was the most advanced program that allowed for fluid movement for strategy connections in real time. And she really enjoyed us really digging into the exit strategy. So that's where we spend a lot of time, is in order to keep building and building intentionally, knowing how we're going to build. And again, we had another company, that through this program is really excited about setting up an ESOP and knows and has that in their financial model as they're looking toward the exit and as they're building their company and they're working on their culture, like that's in their purview. So we're really excited to be able to see that. So my ask for MxG is please help me spread the word to agriculture, aquaculture, value-added, and food technology companies. I would love to work with them. If I am not the right fit for them, then we've got Top Gum starting, right? There's Urigo Labs, there's Cultivator, there's lots of great places, and really excited to collaborate and find entrepreneurs their next stop on their journey. And again, the application is very easy to do. It's scratchpadaccelerator.org. And you can just hit the apply, and we have social media going on LinkedIn. So please share and like. And I'll leave with 12 seconds left.
Thanks, Lisa.
Sorry,
Yeah, if you
my
can
screen
post
didn't
that.
work. I had a great PowerPoint.
Well, you did a great job. So any questions? And I guess I'll just kick us off. So other than sector, so you mentioned agriculture, aquaculture, food, value add, is any other eligibility requirements to be aware of in terms of like size of the business or anything like that?
So that is less dependent. We really are focusing on founders' coachability. Are they open? Are they willing to listen? And I recently got certified in coachability consultants, which is a scientifically validated baseline coachability tool that we can use to help kind of understand that and again grow on that. So ideally there's teams of 2. And so if you're pre-revenue, well then you're pre-revenue. And if so we just meet people where they are and really, but the goal is that they're coachable and that they have aspirations to compete at a national or international level. So we want people that have a lot of energy and passion towards their mission and are open to figuring out and getting messy and having that kind of pushback from Jason and I and other mentors, challenging their assumptions and helping them overcome the barriers to their thinking and making those connections and helping them build that roadmap.
Great.
So
Any other
intentionally broad.
intentionally broad. And geographically, anywhere in Maine is fine, I imagine,
Anywhere
especially
in
with
Maine
this
is
bespoke
fine.
model.
Thanks. Yes, which we're so grateful to have, again, when we did the customer discovery, we heard them and we completely rewrote the model. Like, this is not about us owning a program. It's about us trying to help other people. And so virtual, and I literally will, if I have to flex my schedule, you need nights, you need early mornings, like we can do that. We have that flexibility. So this is, just to be really clear, Scratchpad Accelerator is an independent LLC. Jason is the executive dean at the University of Maine. And so we have a lot of great connections through his network, but it is not an official University of Maine program. But it was at one point. So again, Jason and I are entrepreneurs at our core. And so we've iterated on even where Scratchpad is, but it is a program of Upstart, which is a nonprofit that's based on promoting entrepreneurship in our region.
Awesome. Any other questions for Lisa?
You're incredible.
All right,
Lisa.
well,
Great work.
that was from Marty.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lisa, thanks so much for sharing. And it sounds like a really exciting program. And if you don't mind just posting the details in the chat, and then also we'll make sure it gets into the notes document as well. But just maybe post a deadline again, just so people make sure they have that kind of top of mind.
I can do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. All right, well, we'll go on to the next presenter, which is Jacob, excuse me, with Grantx.
No worries, Tom. Thanks for having me again. I should have permission to share, right?
I believe so. Fingers crossed.
All right. Oh. You would think that I had this all figured out after COVID. One moment.
It's showing up, just not quite in slideshow yet.
Yeah, the Zoom bar was blocking my ability to
Gotcha.
switch into presenter mode.
Looks good now, and I'll start the timer 5 minutes.
Lovely, thanks. Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Jacob Schoenberg. Today I'm going to be talking about Grantx. This is my company that I founded here to really try and tackle the problem of grants. I'm sure many of you on this call are familiar with how much of a pain going after grant funding can be, but also how pivotal access to grant funding can be, especially as non-dilutive funding for early stage startups or even more mature companies. So at Grantx, we are really focusing on making grant funding more accessible and more simple. In this talk, I'm just going to quickly go through, what is out there and what some of the challenges look like, and then I'm going to kind of introduce you to Grantx and how we're solving those problems. So first off, beyond Maine, but on a national level, there's approximately $1 trillion distributed in grants every year. And specific to a couple of programs here, you can see the Inflation Reduction Act, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. That's $40 billion that have been set to be actually distributed by 2025. Progress is pretty limited on that so far, so there's a likely 2-year extension to 2027, but that is still over $100 billion a year remaining to be distributed. So a lot of money out there to get your hands on. Many of you are probably familiar with CIVA or SBIR STTR. This is a program primarily for R&D, but it's great for startups that really targets a very broad variety of topics. In this program, it goes to the NSF, it goes to the DOE, NIH, various other government agencies. But through CIVA STTR, there's about $4 billion distributed each year. And there's about a 26% success rate, particularly for the DOE, but we see that kind of generally being applicable across all of the agencies for accessing up to $200,000. And the way this program works is there's 3 phases, and throughout the full set of the 3 phases, you can actually access over $1 million, which can be really, really useful for companies, especially in that kind of early R&D stage. But needless to say, there's a lot of money out there. The problems that people typically face that keep them from accessing this funding are kind of broken down here in a set of processes. When you want to kind of go out and get grant funding, the first step is, what is out there for me? Is there funding out there that's actually relevant to the work that I want to be doing? Usually companies will spend anywhere between 1 and 2 weeks just kind of scanning the internet, searching very fragmented databases, scrolling through newsletters, various websites of private foundations, as well as government agencies. And then once you actually find that kind of short list of grants you want to go after, then you have to dive in and do your due diligence, do the research, read the 30 to 70 page notice of funding announcement to understand if you're really eligible and if you really are a good fit for that funder's criteria for what they like to give money to. Once you find the right funding for you, it is a pretty tedious application process. For federal applications, it usually takes 100 to 100 plus hours just to write the application prior to submission. And in general, what's recommended is that businesses budget between 6 to 8 weeks to actually kind of find, prepare, and apply for a grant opportunity. Now, one of the hardest things about going after grant funding, obviously 100 hours is a huge pain, and that's a lot more time than most people are able to kind of put in. But we also see non-professional grant writers. So people who are not professional grant consultants usually achieve between 10% and 18% success rates. So in many cases, it'll take up to 1,000 hours to actually just go out and get the funding you need. And that's what we're really looking to target at Grantx, is cutting that 6 to 8 week period, that 1,000 hours, down to about 4 to 5 days. And the way that we're doing that is really focusing on accessibility to funding opportunities. We've recognized that a lot of time is wasted going through these kind of fragmented databases, trying to kind of ask peers in the industry where they get their funding, or going through newsletters. And we recognize that there really isn't a single source out there that has the complete data set of grant funding opportunities and funders, as well as kind of what those funders look for. And so we're bringing that data together and we're making it more accessible. And then we're building tools to kind of help you with each step along the way in preparing and submitting that application, so that it doesn't have to take you as much time. You don't have to spend your time and energy on the tedious, busy work, and you can really focus on kind of the nuance value that you add to your application, really telling your story. Speaking of telling stories, this is just kind of a quick little story of mine. I'm from Maine, but I left briefly to go down to Austin and work on the kind of big problem that they're facing around climate change and the impact on critical infrastructure. And while I was there, I was given the opportunity to lead a project that would significantly impact or further the adoption of electric vehicles and charging infrastructure in Central Texas. Great opportunity. We knew that there was funding out there for us, but after 2 to 3 weeks of just grinding through the pulling out of hair and other laborious tasks related to finding grants, the project died basically because there was just no good way to go out and find the right funding for us. And when I was told there wasn't a better solution, I decided to start one. And Tom, I'm realizing I'm over, so I'll try and speed through the rest. I'll skip this. But just talking about the solutions that we're building today. Right now, what we're really focusing on is our search. So really aggregating that data set so that you have access to all of the grant funding opportunity that's out there. And then the next step of that is using the latest technologies to make sure that we're creating a really quality match between you and the perfect funding for you, using something called retrieval augmented generation and semantic search, so that you can just type in a search. We take the context of what you're looking for, compare that to the true context of the grant's purpose and the eligibility criteria, so that you're only getting the opportunities that are the best possible fit for you. From there, we really trying to make sure that we're addressing the project management requirements of actually going after grant funding. And we're addressing that with our kind of centralized workspace where you can access all of our tools and organize all of the different grant funding opportunities for your various projects. Something that we also have coming up in the next month or two is our application co-pilot. This is a tool where we're bringing in all of the information that you've provided about your organization and the project that you're working on, and using a grant writing trained LLM to quickly generate a first draft of your application and then provide you with a flexible LLM interface for seamless editing and revision of that application. And then you also get access to some expert review so that you can have a professional grant writer telling you what your odds are before submission. All right, I'm done. Hopefully that's within the period of time. If anybody has any further inquiries around trying out our beta access, we are opening up to early users, so feel free to shoot me an email at jacob@grantx.co.
Great, thanks, Jacob. Any quick questions for Jacob? Maybe one. Just looking to see if I see any hands up. And I guess I'd be interested. I don't think I see any hands. What's your fee structure? How do you how do you earn money from this?
Yeah. So we're classic subscription. With larger organizations, we do take an enterprise model.
Okay, gotcha. Well, great. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it, Jacob. Yeah, if you, sorry, go ahead, Marty. I think we have time.
Do you have a wheelhouse, Jacob, where you think that people in this sector, like you mentioned, the EV development, or is it going to be startups, or will it be maybe market companies who feel like they're missing out on IRA money? Who's kind of out of the gate is seeming like the best use case?
Yeah. I mean, what we've really focused on and kind of realized in our market research is that there is a very clear set of common challenges that everybody faces across topics and industries. And so that's what we're really honing in on, so that we can be more of a general application, just solving the problems that everybody deals with, right? That being said, our core customer segments that we're working with now are research universities, grant writing agencies, as well as freelance grant writers, nonprofits, and then we are also doing some work with some VCs to help their portfolio companies.
Got it. Thank you. Exciting.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jacob. And yeah, if you don't mind just plopping your contact info in the chat, that would be super helpful. And if folks have more questions, they can reach out that way.
Sure, and I'll toss in our website there too if anyone wants to check it out.
Great. Awesome. Thanks. All right. Well, I believe our last presenter, Ackeem, will it be you or Jermaine? Ackeem, great. Go ahead, Ackeem.
Can everyone see my screen?
Looks great.
Awesome. Oh, well, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Tom, for having us again. This is awesome. Really good to see some familiar faces, as we continue to do this. I think it's our third time speaking, Tom, I think. So this is awesome. So really getting able to share our growth with the group. But yeah, so following on from what we just heard with Grantx, we believe that civic engagement is like a core component of the ecosystem, and that's our vision. Our vision is to create a collaborative ecosystem that strengthens our industry overall, and seeing now with November being around the corner shows more important than ever, like how important it is for us to really lean in and understand what that civic engagement ecosystem looks like. For us, and the way we define it and how we build our civic network, it's like starting with the people and kind of utilizing a lot of technology, but we understand that people connect with nonprofits, who connect with government agencies, who connect with government, and then connect with the elected officials. So it's moving past just the traditional, just going on and voting, but there's a whole collaborative ecosystem that needs to communicate and engage, and building on what we just heard with a lot of the grants, which we look to as well, which helps us to create a civic network. So everyone is familiar with a social network, and this is the first time I'm, presenting in this mindset where we understand that with a social network, you go on and you connect with people, or you communicate, you share pictures, you look for jobs. The way we built CIVA is that it allows organizations to connect with civic groups, connect with organizations, government agencies, access real-time legislation and grant opportunities, and collaborate effectively in a way that hasn't been done before, where it's usually more spoken about and seeing connections, but in a way that you can measure and have real-time data insights about who you connected with, finding out the proper resources and government opportunities that you need to have for your organization. Essentially, what we're doing, we're taking it from Web 1, which was just a static website that a lot of agencies, grants.gov, legislation has, and then moving it more into a dynamic Web 2 ecosystem where it builds on interaction engagement between the different organizations, so that lessons learned from other places can help fuel and teach other people how to navigate and make that time, like we also shorter, from looking for funding, figuring out who your elected official is, finding the latest updates, looking for partner organizations, and collaboration. We're taking this massive web of federal, state, county, and local, of everything in between, and then creating this streamlined interaction based on who you are and what you're looking for. And we've been doing that for the past couple of years. So since we came in 2021 to Maine, we've been beneficial to go through the RU, receive support from like MTI, and partner with large organizations like TOPS and then Maine Health Institute for Research. And we've done the work to establish the coverage across Maine. Then we took all the legislative updates. We know who all the elected officials are. We have all the city boundaries. We have all the grant resources, all the funding resources, all the foundations noted into a database that we're leaning into becoming patent pending in the next few months, in terms to help create that streamlined civic engagement access or opportunity for each organization, and then eventually users that use our platform. And to do that, we've built up a great model. And in that model, we're asking for organizations interested, and Jermaine will drop it in the chat for a survey to help us build up additional profiles to what we have now to strengthen it. So we've been able to provide recommendations and insights to specific homeowner associations within Maine or libraries who have expressed interest in providing government benefits down to their members. But in order for us to expand and make it stronger, we need additional profiles so that we can continue to test and refine the model so that we can give more accurate and personal government insights and connections to the organizations that we're working with. So then here's the QR code as well if you want to scan it here. And that's it. I'm gonna try to keep it under 5 minutes. I'm definitely open to questions.
Great, thanks, Ackeem. So you said that one of your needs is additional organizational profiles. So you're trying to onboard some Maine-based organizations to include in the platform. Is that right?
Yeah, we need more people engaging with the algorithm to help strengthen it, so that the more people we have looking for and seeking resources, the better it is at giving you more specific opportunities and lessons learned. Like, as we learned that you reached out to this agency for this specific thing, it helps us make that recommendation better for the next organization that comes into the platform.
And is there any specific organizational profile that you're seeking at this moment, or like the health, or yeah?
We're primarily working with a lot of health agency organizations now, but again, we're looking to build. So we brought on 3 Northeastern professors to serve as advisors and a couple of different technology focus areas, and they're helping us with it. So right now we're looking to continue refining. So if you're a nonprofit, regardless of industry, a foundation or a agency providing benefits back, we would love to have you working with us, because we've already integrated, the majority of federal API for most agencies, and found funding opportunities and legislative bodies from, everything from HHS to DOE to NSF. We have all those integrations in. We just need to now refine and make sure the data insights are going to the resource insights are going to the people who can get the most value out of them.
Great. Any other questions for Ackeem?
Ackeem, would you give an example of a situation where somebody came in with a problem and used your tool to provide an outcome?
Yeah, definitely. When we started reaching out to community organizations across Maine, we found surprising synergies with libraries, and they have a community relations person that needs to help members that come into the library who may be looking for additional community resources. Like, they would have maybe Hannaford provide them with a grocery card, but then they have this Excel sheet of long list of government and or nonprofit support, but they're not sure which one is updated. They don't know which one is active. They don't know who's the current project manager. So we are able to then, if they give us the profile, we can then say, all right, we have this, we were looking for this. We can say, here's the latest grant funding for, families looking for health support, or here's the latest nonprofit providing vouchers for X, Y, and Z. So that's an organization that came to us. We were able to take in their profile and then provide them back with public information, resources, and benefits.
That's super interesting. Might work for some of the homeless outreach we're doing. I'll think about that.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Ackeem. And then, yeah, if you don't mind just plopping your contact info in the chat, that would be great.
So thanks again.
So that brings us to the end of our presenters. Did anybody have any short announcements or updates they wanted to share with the group before we call it a day?
Did you say that MTI is having a 25th anniversary party? When is it?
Doesn't hurt to repeat it. What? Oh gosh, October 29th, 4 to 7 p.m. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, it's free, so there'll be lots of snacks and goodies, and lots of great people there. So definitely encourage folks to turn out. And I'll post the info in the chat one more time just to make sure everybody sees it. Go ahead, Anthony.
Thanks. So my name is Anthony Durante. I'm at the University of Maine, but I'm also on the board of directors for the International Business Innovation Association, or INBIA. We are hosting our eBuilders Forum in Kansas City from October 22nd to 24th. So if you're an incubator, accelerator, anything entrepreneurial support, we welcome you to come to the forum. eBuilders Forum is a little different than a general conference. eBuilders drops into a particular ecosystem. This year it's Kansas City. We'll be at the Kauffman Foundation. And we really dig into like all of these best practices and things like that we always talk about at other conferences and look at them, how they're applied to a specific community. So it's a great opportunity to network, a great opportunity to see kind of theory put into action. So we'd love to see you all there. If you're members, even if you're not members, come join us.
Thanks, Anthony. Any other announcements for the group? Awesome. Well, I look forward to hopefully seeing most of you in October, and have a great month until then. Thanks to everybody for turning up.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Tom.
Good day.
Take care all.